What's going on, folks? It's me, Nightstargamer, and I'm back with something a little different. Um, I've been doing YouTube content for about 12 or so years now. Done a fair bit of Pokemon playthroughs, and one of the questions I get often is, "What's your favorite Pokemon?" Or "What's your favorite in blank gen?" And I was like, you know what? I have never actually done a tier list before, and they seem kind of interesting. I was like, you know what? Why don't I ask that question to myself? Because, there's Pokemon where I'm like, oh yeah, these ones come to mind. But then there might be some that I surprisingly like and just never really thought about. So I figure, might as well make a tier list. So every month, I'm going to be posting a, a generation. So today I'll start with Gen 1. In December, I'll do Gen 2. January, Gen 3. So on and so forth until we reach the most recent generation. And then I thought, when I'm done all that, what I'll do is all the Pokemon I picked for S, I will have them compete in a final tier list. That way, we get to see which one I actually like. Which one is my actual favorite. So, um, keep in mind that this is very much objective. Um, I'm not an expert. These are just my own personal opinions of Pokemon I like. You might like some Pokemon that I don't. You might agree, you might disagree. That's just part of life. No personal attack or anything if I don't like your favorite Pokemon. But I would also like to hear your opinions in the comments below. The cool thing with Pokemon is that it has impacted so many people in so many different ways, and everyone has a story to tell about their favorite Pokemon and why they're their favorite Pokemon or why they're not their favorite Pokemon. So we're going to explore that today. So I'm not having any music at the moment. Um, I don't feel confident with getting flagged on YouTube. I could probably use the music I use during my streams, but I don't want to risk it. If I'm being honest, if it does feel weird, let me know and I'll fix it for like the next tier list. But I figured, you know what, you can just throw on your music in the background, chill up to this. Um, but yeah, let me know. So let's begin. So typical tier list fashion. We have S down to F. I also added NA. Now you may notice some of these mons aren't actually Gen 1, like the Mega Evolutions. You know? So when they come up, I'm going to just move them to the NA. Because they don't need to be here. But yeah, I didn't make this list here. Like I'm you know, making it, but I didn't like put the Pokemon into the list, so I figured I'd have that. So yeah, so let's dive into it. So first up, we have Bulbasaur. You know, what are the three starters? You know what? We'll just get the starters out the gate. Honestly, I love them all. I really can't choose a favorite. When it comes to starters, uh, you know what? It's really hard to say because like I love all of them for different reasons. Like they're at the very least in A tier. I don't know if they're my absolute favorite Pokemon ever. I'll say that for S. But I can't deny I have a fondness for all of them. I think like I flip between if I like Bulbasaur or Squirtle more than the other. Kind of like flip back and forth. When I first played, and Pokemon Blue was my first Pokemon game back when I was like 9. I did choose Charmander, but over the years, these two have kind of grown on me. Okay, for the middle evolutions, um, probably controversial. I okay. Let's see. Ivysaur. Um, I like Ivysaur. I don't think I like Ivysaur more than Bulbasaur. So I think that would put Ivysaur in like B tier. I do really like Venusaur. I like Venusaur more than Ivysaur. Is Venusaur A tier for me? I don't know. I'll put him here for now. Next up we have Mega Evolution. Just gonna throw him there. Charmeleon. Charmeleon is fine. I don't love him. So I don't think I don't think he's bad. There's just something about his design that doesn't feel cool or neat to me or anything. It's just kind of there. I get it, but I think I have to do C. I'm kind of feeling C for Charizard as well. Like, Charizard is cool, and like I will admit, a bit of it is because I think he's just gotten too much love in the series. But I don't hate Charizard, but I don't love Charizard, and that's where C is. C isn't bad. It's very neutral. I don't hate. I don't love. Just kind of there. So I'm gonna put him in C above Charmeleon. I'm kind of feeling that maybe about one of these two as well, but I'm not sure. I actually love Wartortle's design. I think he looks really cool. So like I'm definitely more of like a cute aesthetic over a cool aesthetic, if I had to say. Which I'm sure this is gonna probably start to look that way. Um, I'm not confident with these two. But yeah. But yeah. Kind of like going over the tier list in my head. S is like my favorite. I love them. There's no doubt in my mind. A is I really, really like them. They're like up there for me. B is very much like I have a fondness for them. I like them, but I don't like. They're not quite at the top two tiers. C is neutral. D is I have a little less fondness for them. Maybe I'm not familiar with them. Maybe something about them doesn't hit. They would normally be in C, but just something else is off with them. F is just I just don't like them. Okay. Caterpie. Um, I don't know why. I have a fondness for Caterpie. Just, just throw those in there. So like, I really like Butterfree. Very good like special attacker. Um, kind of cute and friendly. I just don't think like Beedrill was cooler. But let's be honest, Beedrill, especially in the games, kind of falls off pretty hard. Like where like both of the bugs in like the early game, they start to fall off by like mid. I feel like Beedrill falls off like immediately. Um, Whereas at least like Butterfree gets like confusion, and I believe can learn Psychic, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, I'm feeling this. Like I have done a little bit of like competitive battling, nothing like serious. I mostly just like to build fun teams or fun builds. Um, Beedrill is cool though, but yeah, like I think it's just like very neutral for me with Beedrill. Like, I don't love him, don't hate him. He's just kind of there. He's neat. I like his design. Weedle. Weedle's here for me. Get out of here. Pidgey, 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 Pidgey. So I mentioned this before. I kind of love the Pidgey line. When I was a kid, I loved Pidgey, Pidgeotto, Pidgeot, and I made my not my first team, but probably like because I had 2 copies of Pokemon Blue. And by one copy, I made an entire team of Pidgeotto or like eventually evolved them. So it was just Pidgeot. So to me, Pidgeot is S. Um, Pidgeotto. I feel like are here. I think I like them over the starters if I'm being fully honest. And something I did back with uh Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire in those games. I made a competitive a Pidgeotto, but he was like more defensive base. I gave him like toxic. Um, I believe I gave him Evilite to make him more bulky, and I gave him some like uh uh kind of like not stall, but like I gave him some like variety moves to kind of help speed up like the chip damage. He was kind of fun to build. Um, Rattata's just kind of there. Don't love him, don't hate him. Same as Eradicate. Honestly, you could do worse, especially in like a Nuzlocke. Like they're not good against like fighting types, but they are pretty defensive and have good offense in like the base games. I also made a completely special Eradicate in Sword and Shield, I believe, because I love the idea of just a rat being able to use like Hyper Beam, Ice Beam. I think Flamethrower it can learn. It can learn a lot of moves that you wouldn't expect a rat to be able to learn. Um, I I want to like Spearow and Fearow more. There's definitely more of a fondness with the Pidgey line because they're like one of the first Pokemon you catch, right? Spearow you catch much later, and by that time you probably already have a Pidgey, so unless you just don't like Pidgey. And I've tried to get into Spearow and Fearow, but they're just lacking, in all honesty. Like every time I've used them, like I like their design, but the issue is just like they just they don't do much. Like I think they have some decent offense, but they're just kind of there. Um, but yeah, I don't overly hate them though. Um, like would they be in C? I'll ponder that. Like I'll definitely go back and go over this. Let's see. Next up we have Ekans and Arbok. Um, hmm. I I've been trying to use these two more in like my like casual playthroughs. There's something I like about them, but I think just poison types just don't get a lot of good, you know? Like, they're weak to ground, which is one of the most, like, popular attacks, like with Earthquake. They're not particularly great against much, but I feel like the designs of these guys alone get some points in my book. But I think I'm gonna pop them in C for now. I think I put Beedrill behind. Kind of like that. Honestly, I think I'm gonna put the rats down here. Like as I said, I have a bit of a fondness, I think, for Eradicate because I made that build. And Rattata I have some fondness towards because I don't know, I don't feel like detail tier really suits them in my own personal books, but like it's wavering for me. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Something doesn't feel right with having them here, but having them in this tier also doesn't feel right, if that makes sense. But yeah, we'll move on. We have Pikachu, mascot. This is specifically the female Pikachu because of the tail. Um, yeah, think think high C. Raichu is B. Um, Sandshrew also B for me. Higher than Weedle. Do I like Sandshrew more than Raichu? Think that's feeling good. Yeah. Sandslash. Once again, I'm more of like a cute over cool. I don't dislike Sandslash. Think like I feel like he's probably kind of tied with me for like Venusaur here. Like if I had to pick like I don't know, we'll do like a run through once I get everything on the board here. F tier is looking pretty empty, but I'm not expecting to have many F tiers, especially in Gen 1. Um I'm sure there's a couple, skimming down here. I'm sure I can probably find like one or two that might go down there. But yeah, I really don't hate a lot of Pokemon, especially in Gen 1. Like I even have a hard time hating Kakuna and Metapod because they make sense for their evolution lines, if that makes sense. But let's see. Nidoran, female. Yeah. I think once again, they'd probably go in B tier for me. Like, I'm typically pretty happy using either or in like a run. Same as like their middle evolutions and stuff and their end evolutions. I think the like they're really like not much really different about them. I believe Nidoqueen is a bit more specially defensive or has a bit more power, something like that. I can't quite remember. But yeah, they're kind of the same. And then these guys would kind of be kind of at the back, you know. Well, yeah, like I don't nothing them or like neutral them. I mean, yeah, this is like neutral. This is kind of like just like they don't often cross my mind kind of thing. But yeah, these are that feels good. Like I definitely feel like B and C are going to be like the heavy bars in this. Clefairy and Clefable. D. Once again, I don't hate them. You know, they're not in F tier. I don't hate them. I don't neutral them. I often just don't think of Clefairy and Clefable. And that's really like I think where D is ending. D is they don't often cross my mind unless they pop up in the games. Honestly, that can kind of be the same for Ekans and Arbok. But recently, I've been trying to make a bit more of an effort to use them when I come across them. But I often don't think of Ekans and Arbok until they show up. I think of them a bit more because uh of like Jesse having an Arbok. But I feel like I could probably put Ekans even just further back here, possibly going into D. But yeah, I don't really think of Clefairy and Clefable much. Like they're basically tied. Um, Vulpix and Ninetales. I think like a B for Vulpix. I've never really used Ninetales, if I'm being honest. Like Ninetales is very pretty. Vulpix is very cute. I used them a bit. I used Vulpix a bit during my Pokemon Red playthrough, my Nuzlocke that I've been doing. But I haven't really used them that much, and that's something I definitely want to like dabble in the future. But like, I kind of, where do I feel with these two? I don't love them. I don't like adore them. I don't really have any special memories with them. The designs are cute. Honestly, I think just like probably high C. I'm being honest. All right, next up, Jigglypuff. S tier. I've said this in the past during like videos and stuff, but Jigglypuff has a soft spot in my heart for me. Um, and it's mostly because of Pokemon Silver. So, you know, back in the day, you know, it wasn't common knowledge of what can be used to evolve certain Pokemon, and Jigglypuff was one of those that I just so happened to catch, and I thought it was kind of cute. I added it to my team, and it kind of became my starter during my main silver playthrough. Like, most people get like their starter up super high, and the rest kind of like, lower. That was the opposite for me. My Jigglypuff got to like level 60 by like Lake of Rage. So I got to the point where it was basically able to pound everything in one shot. I don't know, I just something about that, like not knowing how it evolved, and just having this little cute ball of poof that can punch anything to death was just crazy. And what's fun is that Jigglypuff can learn all the elemental punches, which is kind of neat. So I love the idea of this little like puff ball throwing out like thunder and lightning, or like thunder, fire, and ice punches. So yeah, adore Jigglypuff. Wigglytuff, on the other hand, I built like a competitive team in uh I want to say Sword and Shield. I had Jigglypuff with like the punches, same as a Wigglytuff. To try and use them both. I don't like Wigglytuff as much though. Like I like the sprite. The sprite is super cute, especially in the 3D models. It looks weird. It looks, and it's probably intended. It looks like a Furby, and I was never really fond of the Furbies. They kind of creep me out. Like my mom loved them. They kind of creep me out a little bit. So high D for now. Maybe C. Next up we have Zubat and Golbat. One, all hail cat. But with with these two, I know there's like a lot of hate because Zubats were in all the caves, and it's kind of a bit. But I kind of love these two. I wish this sprite had the tongue. I don't know why Nintendo feared tongues in later games, but I kind of adore these two. Like, if you can ever really use a Gold, like, not often poison are really good, but Golbat and eventually Crobat, they're surprisingly good. They have a lot of bulk, like a decent amount of bulk, great speed, solid attack. Like, I don't know like, if Crobats or Golbats are winning any like competitive fights, but if you're just doing a base playthrough and you want just a decent Pokemon, you could do worse than a Golbat. And I kind of just have a fondness for them. I think more than Charmander. Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where I'm rarely ever upset to add one to my team. Like, they're a bit of, like, work early on because they don't get a lot of good moves. In, like, newer games, they actually have, like, good attacks. But, like, and, like, a lot of people probably saw in my Pokemon Blue playthrough with Cat the Golbat, like, there's, they can, they can kind of surprise you. Oddish, Gloom, and Vileplume. Oddish is A. I don't love Gloom. Like, I kind of get it for the design that they're going for and like the evolution, kind of like with Metapod and Kakuna. But Gloom's just kind of gross to me. You know, I feel like they're sticky. They're gonna smell. So they're kind of in like the same position as like Wigglytuff, where like Wigglytuff kind of creeps me out. I don't feel like it would be pleasant to be around a Gloom. Vileplume, I unironically love. Not love, but like I definitely like Vileplume more than Gloom. Not as much as Oddish. Oddish is adorable. Vileplume, I don't fully know if I've ever actually really used a Vileplume. But if I ever get one in like a run or something along those lines, or like encounter one, they're typically a threat. But I'm never like upset to have one. So I think I'm gonna put them in B, and I think I'm gonna move Weedle down to C. High C. Paris and Parasect. Um, did this adjust somehow? Um, okay. I thought you guys could see the bottom of the list, but if there's something shifted, that's okay though. So yeah, next up we have Paris and Parasect. Um, I have no special attachment to either of these. I think I like in my Pokemon Red playthrough. I'm getting to use a Parasect, and they're kind of neat. Like they have spores. Spores kind of fun. Paris is kind of cute. Could Parasect could Parasect be my first F? I don't think I dislike it that much. But there's just something I kind of find disturbing about it. And I definitely like Paris a bit more. I don't know. I'm just like during my red Nuzlocke when I got Paris, I was like, interesting. I've never used one, but I've also haven't had the desire to use one. So though I don't think he's F, I also don't think he's high D. So I think he's above Kakuna and Metapod. Okay. Then we have um Venonet and Venomoth. Mm, hmm. Alright, sorry about that. I was just checking something. Yeah. Alright, resume. But yeah, let's see. I think for Venonet, resume. Yeah, I think for Venonet, I have kind of a fondness for Venonet. I find them kind of adorable. I think I've definitely have had more of an urge to use a Venonet. and they're fairly cute. I think at least here. Never actually used Venomoth. Um, Venomoth is just, you know, I've had a curiousness to try them, but also just never really used them. I don't really have a fondness for like Diglett and Trio, which are next. But they're fine. Maybe they're my first F. And like I think I almost need to like preference this. I don't think any of these Pokemon in Gen 1, scrolling down the list, I don't think there's any of them I absolutely hate. Like, if I'm being honest, I don't think there's any that I absolutely like. I don't know. Like, there's definitely, maybe for now we'll use F as like just heavily dislike. I don't know. I don't really, I don't really love Diglett and Trio. They're just kind of whatever. They're neat. They can have a lot of fun. They can be fun to use. Um, but I also just don't really think of them that much. So the Sun and Moon Diglett and Trio with the hairdos, they're kind of cool. Meowth Persian. Now here's the thing. If we're talking the anime Meowth, S tier. If we're talking just a basic Meowth, probably just D tier. But it has its uses. It can learn Payday. You know, I don't maybe C. Same as Persian. I don't dislike them. If they come up in a run, cool. But I think the issue with like Meowth and Persian is that they kind of fall into the they're almost outclassed immediately, right? Like unless you just have a fondness for cats, they're one of the things where like early on, and especially in the first games, what you encounter like the birds, which are normal types. You encounter the Rattata and Raticate, which are normal types. I do kind of believe Raticat and Raticate are just better overall. They have a bit more bulk to them, which I'm very much a defensive Pokemon. So maybe Persian's more offensive. But yeah, they're just kind of. I don't really think of them that much. I think I think of them more than like a Ekans and like a Venomoth. And like, no, I think Beedrill's probably higher. I probably think about Beedrill a little more. Yeah. Next up we have Psyduck. Um, Psyduck was one of those Pokemon I didn't really think much about. The anime version of it was kind of cute, but I found myself slowly kind of loving him, and I can't explain why. You know, um, there's just something about him. I enjoy drawing him. I think I've drawn him like every year for the past like 3 years. Like I tend to draw him every October. I actually recently did one this October. I drew him as like a spy and called him Spyduck. I thought it was really cute and clever. Last year, I drew him kind of relaxing in like a pool. The year before that, I was drawing every Gen 1 Pokemon, so I drew him for that thing I was doing. There's a roundness to him, there's a cuteness to him. There's that desire to try him more now that it's kind of piqued my interest. I just have to try and get one in a game, and he's not always catchable early on. And usually, if you choose like your water starter, which I've learned I tend to lean more towards water starters, water or grass, um, which kind of water kind of covers him. But I think I'm gonna be putting Psyduck. I think in A tier for me. And as I said, I can't fully explain why besides me just drawing him. But there's something about Psyduck for me that like I just kind of love him. I can't really explain it. I want a Psyduck so I can give him a hug. Golduck now. I really love Golduck's design. Like, he always looks so cool drawn in 2D. He's always like claws out, like ready to grapple, ready to get into like a tussle. Looks like he'd be really strong, really quick. But they butchered him in the 3D games. He always just looks like that's it. He doesn't look cool. He doesn't look really in like the 3D games. They kind of just they didn't know what to do with his arms. But I do like him quite a bit. I think I have to go B tier at the very least. How am I feeling in B tier? Also with Pidgey, drawing Pidgey, I want to say like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I think it was 2019. That got me back on my journey of drawing. I stopped drawing for a long time from bullying and stuff like that. And I got back into it because I drew a picture of Pidgey and I just really liked that picture. So Pidgey also has a fondness in my heart because of that. Something I kind of want to like add in there as well. Yeah, back to Golbat. Also, I did do like a little drawing process of my one sketch I did of Pidgey when I was drawing every Pokemon in Gen 1. Which was kind of fun to do. That's my first like drawing video. But back to Golduck. I think higher than Vileplume. Honestly, I think Vileplume fell to C tier. Higher. Yeah, I think B tier. I haven't really used them enough to put them higher, but I think I like him more than these ones. Not fully sure. Like he's in one of these. He's either top tier in C or somewhere in B at near the end. I can't quite tell. We'll ponder that for a bit. Moving on, we have Mankey and Primate. Where do I land with them? The weird thing is, and it will definitely become more apparent later on, I'm not the biggest fan monkeys. Like, particularly, like, the monkey Pokemon. Like, I'm not really fond of, like, the Panseer, Pansage, and Panpour from Gen 5. I'm also not really a fan of, like, Chimchar, Infernape. To be honest, I don't like monkeys. Not that they're bad, I just don't like monkeys, really. They're not even, like, high up for, like, my favorite animal. But, it just could be, like, Gen 1 goggles, I will admit. I don't dislike these two. Like, I wouldn't say, like, I nothing them or I don't really think about them. If I get a chance to use them in a game, I'm usually pretty happy with them. There's other fighting types, of course, I like over them. But considering the fact that they're monkeys and I don't dislike them, I think puts them higher than C. I think I can probably put them in, like, B. Yeah, that feels right. That that feels good, I think, because C is very neutral, and I think I like them better than very neutral. Honestly, I think I like Nidoran and Nidorina very neutral as well. Um, Also, when I think of Mankey, if you guys remember the original Pokemon Snap, there was that one Mankey in, like, the valley. I think if you hit it with, like, a Pester Ball, he, like, freaks out and rolls backwards. That makes me laugh every time I think about it. So I think for that alone, maybe that created a lot of, like, the fondness. Also, Ash's Primate. If you guys even remember, Ash had a Primate for, like, 2 episodes. Um, or I think a Mankey and then a Primate. But yeah, he had one for, like, 2 episodes, maybe like 5. He didn't have it for long, and then it was gone. He gave it to, like, the fighting dojo. But yeah, definitely have a fondness. Maybe more than Golduck. I'm also not fully confident with, like, where Venonat is. But yeah, let's move on. We have Growlithe and Arcanine. Um, you know what? I think I see a potential F tier coming up. Maybe 2. Not sure. Um, Growlithe, Arcanine. I think I like Growlithe and Arcanine more than Vulpix. I think they're in B tier for me. I never really use Arcanine, right? So I used it. I used to use the Pokemon, like, the Arcanine card when I played the Game Boy TCG game a lot when I was a kid. I think I like Growlithe more because he's just super cute. I think more than Golduck. I think more than Primeape and Mankey. I think more than Venonat. Like, I like Arcanine because he's cute, or Growlithe because he's cute. Arcanine because he's cool. Um, also they're just good boys, right? So feeling at least there. Um, Honestly, I feel like Sandslash and Venusaur might get knocked back a little bit. Because like looking at this, I may like them more than like some of these. So maybe uh moving them up here. Maybe I like them more than I thought. That's interesting. Do I like both of these, or at least one of these, more than Nidoqueen or Nidoking? Oddly enough, not moving them above feels wrong. I do think I like Sandslash more just as a design over Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Also, I love just going Slash, Slash. So, there's that. I'm having a difficult time with the 7 that are up here right now. Like, there's definitely a, something, you know? Like, it's also weird because I didn't think I liked Raichu as much as I do here. But making him lower feels wrong, and I cannot explain that. I think I have to pull Venusaur back. I'm even tempted pulling Venusaur back more, but that also feels wrong. We'll stick with this for now. Okay, next up we have the Polyline. Honestly, Poliwhirl, don't really think much about him. Maybe like here? Poliwag. I think I'm feeling Poliwag. I don't think he's S tier for me. Oops. I'm almost tempted to put Poliwag at A tier, but that doesn't quite feel right. But I definitely, you know what? I think I like Poliwag more than I do Charmander. I think I like him. No, I think that feels right. I definitely like Oddish and Pidgey. Like, I feel like he's probably tied with like these three. Like, these three can probably go like I like Caterpie, he's super cute. I like Butterfree. These three can kind of be in the same slot essentially. I feel. Poliwrath is super cool. I haven't really used him much. That's the weird thing. So I don't really have like a fond story or anything of him. So, in a weird way, I don't like. I like him better than Poliwhirl. I think he would have to be B. Mostly just for I think design alone. And like when I do get him or have a chance to get him, I do get kind of excited. It's one of those things where like I have more of a fondness for him than I thought I did without really having used him before. Where I think he can kind of cut in front of Nidoqueen. Hmm. I don't know. Maybe here? Okay, let's move on. We got Abracadabra, Alakazam. Um, Here's the weird thing. I've never really liked like, and that's the weird thing. I don't think I dislike them. Like, there's not really a hatred towards them or anything like that. Um, but I don't know. There's just like if I get to use one in a run, it's fine. But once again, I am more of a physical trainer or like a defensive trainer than an offensive trainer a lot of the time. It's very rare where like take the reason why I like a lot of the Pokemon that are up here. Like Venusaur is very bulky. Um, these two aren't. Raichu's a bit more bulkier than like Pikachu, and he's just adorable. Like I lean towards kind of bulkier Pokemon a lot of the time, unless they're just super cute. Um, like Nidoking and Nidoqueen, they're bulky, but they also hit pretty hard. Same as like Poliwrath. So, and the weird thing is as well, and I'm gonna like be hypocritical with this because one of my S tiers is coming up and it breaks the rule that I'm about to say. But I don't love trade evolutions. They're one of the things that I really want Nintendo to get rid of, or make it an option to maybe get a Pokemon early. Because I feel like trade evolutions one limit the game way too much. It basically made it so if you don't have a friend to trade with, so someone like myself who basically, I didn't have brothers, so didn't have that source to trade with, and didn't have really a lot of friends that played Pokemon. So really, I just had myself, and eventually I started getting like two Game Boys, or like two, uh, yeah, Game Boy Advances at one point, and I traded with myself, which is how I got my one favorite. But I don't love trade evolution, so I don't really have a lot of like experience with like Machoke and Machamp, or like a Machamp and um Alakazam, and I don't know. I think Abra and like yeah, honestly, I do kind of think maybe up here. Yeah, and I know it's probably scandalous to have these two in F tier. Like, I can admit that both of these two Pokemon are really, really, really good fighters. Alakazam has like some of the best speed in the game, really high special attacker. It's a glass cannon, which I think is just why I don't like it very much. I'm not much of a glass cannon user. It's like, you have one job, and if you get outclassed at any point, you know, you're out for the count. But if you do manage to do your job, it's really effective. And like Machamp is really good, and like my Pokemon Red playthrough has been giving me some fondness towards Machop and Machamp and all of them. And once again, I can admit that they're good. I just don't like them. I don't love the Machop and Machamp designs. There's something about them for me. And like, once again, I'm gonna say this. I don't like, even though like in this tier list they're in like the hate section, I don't outright hate them. There's a couple Pokemon I do. I don't think in Gen 1. But there's some Pokemon that just give me the ick. Or just, they irk me in such a way, and I can't explain it. And these kind of fall on that. Honestly, I'm going to move Alakazam up a bit more. Because he doesn't irk me at all. I just don't use him. But when I have used them, there's a fondness for it. But, like I can admit that, like he doesn't give me the ick. The, like, whereas these three do. For some reason, Machamp not as much. I feel like I might even be willing to bump him up. I don't know. There's just, especially with like, I can't fully explain it. One, they're a little bit more humanoid, which it falls into like a weird line for my brain. I think that's also why I don't really love the monkeys all that much. They're a little bit too humanoid. And I'm a little weirded out that they have pants, but Machop doesn't. I don't love like the weird veiny muscles. I don't know. It's one of those things that I can't fully put my finger on. I'm sure if I did a deep dive into my psyche, I could probably figure it out. And I don't think I outright hate them. Like there are some Pokemon that that I do dislike quite a bit. Maybe in the future I'll add like a different tier. Because I feel like F is like the worst of the worst. But yeah, they just give me the ick. You know what? While I'm at it, Weeping Bell goes into there. Same as Bellsprout. Like I think Weeping Bell gives me a bit more of the ick. I think Bellsprout can kind of go here for me. The weird thing with Bellsprout is that I know it evolves into Weeping Bell. And even though Weeping Bell is pretty defensive, there's just it just gives me the ick. That's all I can say, really. Victory Bell, on the other hand, he can go up to B tier. Feel pretty good with that. Tentacruel and Tentacruel, feeling pretty B tier for them as well. Here's a twist with the Trade Evolution. Golem is S tier for me. The reason is, so Golem was the first Trade Evolution I ever got, and was the first Pokemon I ever got to level 100. And fun fact, that golem has been with me on every Pokemon game since, I want to say, Fire Red. So, might have actually been ever since, like, whichever one of, like, Ruby or Sapphire. I think Sapphire was the one I had. I played the most of. That was, like, my main one. If I'm not mistaken, I think I've had him since, like, Pokemon Sapphire. Then I traded him to Pokemon Red. That's where I got him up to level 100, was in Pokemon Red. Then eventually I traded him to, like, the next generation, the next generation, next generation. So, like, he's been around for so long for me. Sorry, my foot's stuck. And I've just kind of grown a fondness for Golem. For Geodude and Graveler now. I don't like. I like Geodude because he gets to Golem, and I don't like neutral G. I think like there's a bit of fondness because it goes into Golem. So like it's kind of like the reverse of like Bellsprout. But I don't know if I can put him into into a B tier. Very least, I think I like Golduck more than Geodude. And then I think I like Geodude over these two. So we'll put him here for now. I like Graveler more. I definitely think I could put Graveler above Golduck at the moment. Because, like, I don't neutral Geodude. I don't like nothing Geodude here. So I think he's just kind of there. Rapidash and Ponyta. These are one of those Pokemon where, once again, I haven't really used them. You know, like, usually when I played original Blue and stuff like that, I usually went with, like, Charmander. So by that standard, I already had a fire type. So when I eventually ever did run into Ponyta, which I think is next to Lavender Town, if I'm not mistaken. Once again, been a while. I already had a fire type. And depending on the version as well, if I didn't have, like, if I chose one of the other two starters, I usually just went with, like, Growlithe, right? Or, like, Flareon. So it's one of the things where they kind of fell off. I think they've kind of landed, like, the nothing tier, probably above Wigglytuff. For me. Slowpoke and Slowbro. We can just bump them up to A tier. Slowpoke is above Charmander for me. I think he's above these two. I think he's above Poliwag for me. And I think Slowbro, I think he's high B or low A. Yeah, I think they're for me. I don't know. I just kind of love Slowpoke. He's just cute. He's just living his best life. He's just a good boy, you know? Don't really care about this Mega Evolution. Okay. Magnemite and Magneton. Here's the weird thing. I kind of love Magnemite. A lot of it, I think, comes from my Black 2 playthrough. I use the Magnemite, like, you get it in that one, like, area fairly early on. He's fairly defensive, has a pretty okay move pool. You know, he's there, he does his job. Magnemite is definitely in the B tier at least. I think, like, here, I think Poliwrath can go there. Yeah, that's feeling right. Magneton, on the other hand, I just don't care. You know? Like, Magnet Zone's cool in the later on. And like Magnemite's kinda cute and like kinda neat. Magneton, it's just 3 Magnemites. And just that's just kind of the thing. He's just 3 Magnemites. And like it kind of ruins it for me. I don't know why. It's just I don't know. You know what it might be? They don't look like they're. It looks like they're just distressed. Like, it looks like, oops, we got glued together. Oh shit. I guess this is our life now. And I just don't find them very interesting. I think I'm feeling D, in all honesty. Part of me is feeling a little bad for putting Spearow here, because like, I just like birds as well. I think Spearow's higher for me. Because he's just cute. Cute little sparrow. Farfetch'd. I'd like to use him more, but I think he's in B for me. Almost in beer. Maybe high C? I don't know, we'll put him there for now. Doduo and Dodrio. Well, after the Pokemon Red, not after, but during the Pokemon Red playthrough, we had a Dodrio as our starter. I never really used these two before. So at the very least, I neutral them. But I kind of also just think they're neat. And I want to use them more. But as I said, usually when I play through, if I get a Pidgey, I'm typically using Pidgey first. I think they fall into the weird, like, you rarely ever get them early. And I think that makes them kind of fall back a tier because you don't have that fondness with them. And unless you just so happen to choose to use one, I'm basically going off of design at this point. So I think based off of design alone, and no real personal attachment, except for Dodrio, maybe like here? Something like this. And I think I like Tentacruel over Tentacool. I think Tentacool can come down to like C tier for me. Cruel is very cool. I like him quite a bit. I don't like nothing Tentacool. But he's like a means to an end. I don't really think much about him until I get him. But if I ever catch one, I'm not like upset about it. In like a run. Yeah. Ooh. Seal and Dugong. Are they S tier for me? Like I made some fun competitive like a fun move pool with Dugong before. I love Seal. They're definitely A tier at the very least. I can just pop them up here for now while I ponder this. Um. Okay. Well, let's go over the list. Do I like Seal more than Charmander? Yes. Yes. Starts to get difficult past this point for me. For Dugong, pretty much the same. Yeah. These two are kind of tied, but for different reasons, and I don't think I can explain why. Like like they're both very cute. I find Dugong very pretty. Like I can almost imagine one like kind of like splashing up or something like that, and with like water kind of like flowing behind them, kind of thing. I don't know. They're very pretty. Seal's very cute. Once again, cuteness goes a long way. Dugong's also very cute. Like it managed to like get bigger, not become kind of weird. It just it kind of gives me the same vibe as like a Militic, you know? Very majestic. It's also very cute. Do I like Dugong over Seal though? Because like I do get genuinely excited when I encounter a Seal. And like I can't put my finger on why. But I'm feeling this at the moment. Maybe I'll make changes in the future. Next up, we have Muck and Grimer. Like, it's kind of weird because despite Poison not being like the best type, I have a lot of fondness for Poison types for a weird reason. Like, same as like with like Arbok and like Ekans, I have lower than I thought I was going to. But once again, it's not like I dislike them, and it's not like I nothing them. You know what I mean? It's just but like honestly, sometimes I feel like even saying I'm neutral to a lot of these Pokemon aren't crazy either. But I like Muck quite a bit, just because he's bulky. And once again, bulky goes a long way. And I've used a Muck in a Trick Room team because he's not fast, but he's bulky. If you use Trick Room, he becomes pretty fast. Um, I think he goes above Nidoking for me, in all honesty. Above. In terms of how often I've even used these Pokemon, I wasn't expecting him to be so high, but it doesn't feel wrong either. Is it weird that this feels okay to me? I like we have Grimer, who I also like. Sorry, I just looked at this slow bro. He's him just being like, it made me laugh. Is Muck S tier to me? The fact that I can't say no tells me it's a yes. And I'm getting oddly emotional about even taking him out of S tier. What the hell? Like, I feel like it might almost be tied with Pidgeot. Like, I don't think it's above Pidgeot, but like, I wasn't expecting that. I'm not gonna lie. Huh. Alright, moving on. Um, let's see. We still have quite a few to go. And we're at about the hour and 20-minute mark for me recording this. I'll probably cut it a little bit. So I'm gonna wrap this part of the of this series up here. When we come back, I'll finish the list. So I'll see you guys next Monday for that. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.